America redraws its defense red lines. From the Arctic to South America, Washington is sending a clear message. The Western Hemisphere comes first. The U.S. Department of Defense has released its new National Defense Strategy, naming the protection of U.S. interests across the entire Western Hemisphere as its top priority. The document states, the U.S. will no longer cede access or influence over key terrain in the Western Hemisphere, from the Arctic all the way to South America. It further declares, the Department of Defense will provide the President with credible options to guarantee U.S. military and commercial access to key terrain from the Arctic to South America, especially Greenland, the Gulf of Mexico, and the Panama Canal. We will ensure that the Monroe Doctrine is upheld in our time. A shift in focus, Homeland and Indo-Pacific first. The strategy signals a major shift. The U.S. plans to concentrate on defending its own territory and prioritizing the Indo-Pacific region, leading to reduced direct assistance to allies elsewhere. The document states, as U.S. forces focus on homeland defense and the Indo-Pacific, our allies and partners elsewhere will take primary responsibility for their own defense, with critical but more limited support from American forces. Identifying threats and reaffirming deterrence. The strategy frames Russia's nuclear arsenal as the world's largest and insists the U.S. must have guaranteed access to Greenland, while claiming this is not a strategy of isolation. Russia is named a persistent threat to NATO's eastern flank. Other nuclear risks are flagged. Iran may seek nuclear weapons by refusing meaningful negotiations. North Korea's nuclear forces are a direct threat to Washington. The nuclear deterrent remains central. The United States requires a strong, secure, and effective nuclear arsenal. The United States should never, will never, be left vulnerable to nuclear blackmail. The strategy says this shift will allow President Trump to set the country on a course to sustain peace through strength for decades to come. The burden on allies. This responsibility now falls squarely on America's allies. U.S. allies in Europe, the Middle East, and on the Korean Peninsula are expected to take primary responsibility for their own security. The document acknowledges that Washington previously allowed and even encouraged allies to underinvest in defense, but states, fortunately, that is over now. As President Trump has made clear, our allies and partners must shoulder their fair share of the burden. On specific conflicts. Ukraine. Washington believes responsibility for resolving the conflict lies primarily with Europe. China. The strategy strikes a different tone, stating the long-term U.S. policy does not include attempts to change China's government or pursue direct conflict. The goal is simply to ensure that neither China nor anyone else can dominate us or our allies. A doctrine reset and a NATO challenge. This hemispheric focus comes with a clear warning. President Donald Trump has openly questioned NATO's commitment and floated an unprecedented move, invoking NATO's core security clause, Article 5, for U.S. border enforcement. Trump suggested the U.S. missed an opportunity to test NATO by classifying an influx of undocumented migrants as an invasion, language that could theoretically trigger a collective military response under Article 5, which has only been invoked once after 9/11. The Greenland controversy and the Golden Dome. This friction grew alongside Trump's renewed push to acquire Greenland. At Davos, he argued ownership was essential for Arctic defense and accused NATO of benefiting more from U.S. protection than it provides. Trump in audio clip. The problem with NATO is we'd be there for them 100%, but I'm not sure they'd be there for us. After World War II, we gave Greenland back to Denmark. How stupid were we to do that? Hours after questioning NATO's reliability, Trump announced an initial framework for a Greenland-related deal with NATO Secretary General Mark Rutte, potentially granting the U.S. expanded, permanent access. Trump in audio clip. The time limit is infinity, meaning there is no time limit, it's forever. We can do anything we want. We can do military. We can do anything we want. We're going to build the Golden Dome, and we'll have participation in that also.
It is so much better for us and for Europe to have that piece of ice covered by the Golden Dome. NATO's response: unity and focus. In response, NATO officials emphasized unity under U.S. leadership. One official downplayed internal debates, stating the alliance was now focused on the right issues: implementing spending pledges, ramping up defense production, supporting Ukraine, and, under Trump's direction, protecting the Arctic from Russian and Chinese influence. NATO official in audio clip: "He is the leader of the free world. If he is worried about something, hey, we'd better listen. I don't think the Russians and Chinese are happy, but Article 5 is ironclad. An attack on one is an attack on all. There is no doubt."